You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Why is wind power so popular?
Why?
They have a lot of fans.
Hey, Daniel.
What?
How do you get a Pikachu onto a bus? You Pokemon.
Wow. Oh, how better to start a show than with some dad jokes?
Yeah, real bad ones.
I was about to say that I'm about to become a dad this month, but I'm already a dad.
Anchor objects.
Yeah, Anchor's like, hey, what am I, chopped liver? I feel like that's a dad thing to say too, right?
Yeah.
What am I, chopped liver?
You have to kind of say it like this.
Hey.
What am I, chopped liver?
Chopped liver! Also, I saw another meme today that was, it was Rocky and Apollo racing on the beach, and the headline was, Dad's racing to be the first one to say to someone washing their car in the driveway, hey, you gonna do mine next? Other great ones include when somebody walks into a room and they go, who let you in here?
I see they're letting just anybody in here these days.
Or, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dad things to say.
Welcome to The Scrimmage.
I'm
Hey.
Daniel Hargrove,
Hey, I'm Justin Domashevitz.
and our producer Andrew Gross is here with us as well.
Why did we say each other's names?
I don't know. I listened to this one podcast where there's three hosts, and they all say they take turns saying each other's names when they
Oh.
introduce themselves. I think just to be ultra confusing.
You just never know who the heck they are.
But you could see that it really bothered Daniel for that people would think he was me. Or he didn't want anything that I say to be assigned to his name today, is kind of it.
Yeah, I noticed at some point in the show sheet it says something about apology from Justin, and I don't want people to think that I'm having to make an apology.
I have multiple apologies to give today.
I also realized that I know Andrew's middle name, and I know my middle name, but I don't know your middle name.
What's the A stand for?
That's what I was just wondering. What's the A stand for? What's your middle initial? And your social security.
Mother's maiden name?
Yeah.
Last four digits of your credit card?
What are those weird 3 numbers on your credit card, too?
The weird 3 numbers?
Yeah, the ones that are just kind of floating there.
The Scrimmage is brought to you by Oly Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, which you might need if you try to steal my identity. I will sue you.
Yeah.
I will sue the pants off.
And they are proud to sponsor us and all of our very intelligent conversations that we have here.
Let's get it going with the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye, don't worry.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Orlando's Mo Bamba came off the bench to kick Minnesota's Austin Rivers' butt on Friday. Andrew, this was a real fight with real punches. As a fan of violence, would more of this make you want to watch NBA basketball?
Not really, unless it was like actually within the game.
Ah, interesting.
The good violence is within the game.
Within the game.
I thought you just liked violence.
It's better than no violence.
What if I told you that this whole thing started because Austin Rivers got his feelings hurt because Mo Bamba made fun of him for missing a 3-pointer?
It makes me care less.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving has been traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Dallas Mavericks. Justin, do you think Kyrie will be able to coexist with Luka, who is one of the most ball-dominant players in the league?
I think it is possible because Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic both have extremely versatile skill sets. They can both score at all levels. Kyrie is actually a really great post player as a guard, which you don't see a whole lot. And they both have really good handles. They're both really good passers. I think this all depends on whether or not they will be able to mentally coexist with each other. Because Luka's got to be the man, Kyrie's got to be the secondary option. Luka's going to have the ball. Kyrie's going to catch and shoot. Will he be able to handle that?
I mean, he's done it before, right?
Kind of, for a short period of time. We'll see. I'm going to say no. Cleveland Cavs star Donovan Mitchell called Memphis Grizzlies guard Dylan Brooks dirty after both players were ejected following a scuffle.
And not the good kind.
No. Mitchell added, "That's just who he is, and we've seen it a bunch in this league with him." The scuffle started with Brooks appearing to elbow Mitchell below the belt intentionally.
We know what that means.
And escalated when Mitchell threw the ball at Brooks, then shoved him to the ground like a baby. Daniel, is this who Dylan Brooks is?
Yes. We saw him do it before. He's done it again, and he's going to continue doing this.
He did it to GP2.
He did it to GP2, who was his college rival. And you know what? Dukies and Ducks just seem to be these type of guys.
Yeah.
Justin, your North Carolina Tar Heels, speaking of Dukies, lost to them at Cameron Indoor yesterday, 63-57. How much do you hate Duke and all it represents?
In the pregame, they did a show from something they called the quote-unquote Devil's Lair. That's hell! The Devil's Lair is hell! You want your team to be represented that way?
Right.
You already have people dressing up as witches, demons, and devils in your student section. What more do you need? You got Grayson Allen came out of this school.
Christian Leitner.
Christian Leitner came out of this school.
Yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski came out of this school. What more do you need? Why doesn't everyone in the world hate them?
Right?
We're only at like 80% hate. How is it not 100?
Because if everybody hated them, then nobody would go there, so it wouldn't be worth hating them.
I think that only children of people who have literally sold their souls to the devil are allowed to go there. It's really expensive.
Is that it?
Yeah.
How much do their courtside seats cost? You were making comments about that too the other day.
I hate Duke so much.
Yes, you do.
How did
it was
we
fun-
allow Justin to write a 2-minute drill that's entirely basketball? That I'm sorry.
I almost said at the
I am
beginning.
deeply sorry that I allowed that to happen.
You even got Andrew to talk about basketball.
Okay, but here's the thing. I almost said at the beginning, time for a special all-basketball edition of the 2-minute drill, but I was worried that Andrew would buzzer it immediately, and we wouldn't get to ask any of the questions. So I figured we needed to go all the way through it.
Well done.
I was too busy. I knew that you had thrown one in for me, so I was distracted by that knowledge. And
Multiple fights this week.
Yeah.
Basketball fights.
Yeah.
One more exciting than the other. The other was Dylan Brooks just being dirty and a tool. Yeah. The other one was Mo Bamba punching somebody in the face, which was good because Rivers played at Duke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I knew there was another good reason for that.
Yeah. And Rivers basically
and
did
also
this.
Former Gonzaga Bulldog. What's his first name?
Which one?
Suggs.
Oh, Jalen.
Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
Comes in with the headlock throwdown
that was pretty
in that
cool.
one, too. So, Bamba comes over, punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Then Rivers gets back up, and Suggs comes over, flying a headlock, and then just throws him to the ground.
Yeah.
And
And that whole thing literally started because...
then, is it Jonathan Isaac? Is
Yeah.
that his name? Does the good Christian boy thing to do, comes over and helps break things up. And you're
Good
like,
job. Good job, good Christian boy.
good job, Jonathan.
That whole thing literally started because Austin Rivers got his feelings hurt over things that guys from the bench said to him.
Yeah, that's
And
not
then
a
he
good
went
look.
over and he was like, I'm not going to let anybody punk me. So he went out of bounds and stood over the bench and
he
said
punked
something to me.
himself.
And Mo Bamba was like, no, you're not doing that. And he just got up and punched him in the face. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I would have thought it was cool if it happened to somebody I like, but it's Austin Rivers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who cares?
The other thing I want to bring up, Justin, you said Kyrie did it once for a period of time. Isn't he kind of the second option to Kevin Durant right now?
That's a good point, but he's not
he
really
got traded,
like
so he isn't.
So, I mean, I'm just saying that he's not been the number one option
And it's a fair point too, because depending on how long they're planning on keeping him in Dallas, they might only need him for like this half a season. They can give up that much to get him, so they might only need him for this end stretch of the season and then the postseason. So maybe that's what they're banking on. But like when Kyrie went to Brooklyn to be with, or when Harden and Durant and Kyrie were all together in Brooklyn, you could never count on him for any extended period of time.
Right.
They haven't even been able to count on him for extended periods of time this year.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that everybody was like, Kyrie seems to have really settled in. We're not talking about him much. And then we're not talking about him much. Boom! Trade request. Like that was, as soon as he was out of the spotlight for all of his crazy antics, he needed to find a way to get right back in it.
Which was weird because
Super weird.
when he was younger, he wasn't crazy.
He might have hid the crazy a little bit better.
Yeah.
There are things about him that I appreciate.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
You know, he has done a rare NBA player thing and come out and said, "Yeah, I was wrong about that."
Yeah.
Like when he
Right.
kind of forced the ending of his playing together with LeBron in Cleveland.
Right.
And he came out later and was like, I really didn't. I thought I wanted to be a number one. I really did not realize everything LeBron was going through,
Right.
being the number one option. And he's like, yeah, I handled that wrong, which is not a thing that NBA players do
No.
or professional athletes in general.
Yeah.
So he does that, but then he also does these weird things where he'll say random crap about flat Earth and repost anti-Semitic stuff, and then want to take no responsibility for what he says in public or
Right.
what he posts in public.
Right.
And he's a major conspiracy theorist, which I can kind of get on board with.
I usually like conspiracy theorists. Did you know that all birds are robots?
I don't think that's true.
It is. I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna back it up at all. I'm just gonna say it is.
Do you believe the Earth is flat?
No. No, I've been on a plane.
No, it's round like a plate.
But like that kind of stuff where like, oh, when you sail to the end of it and you don't go off, it's like what flat earthers believe is that the North Pole is the middle and that everything
Right.
extends out from there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, like,
it
that's
makes
what
sense. I'm not saying that makes sense. I'm saying that the North Pole being the middle
Yeah.
would
But that's
be
why
the logical choice.
the governments all protect Antarctica. Like people don't go there.
right? Shackleton
the
went
government
there.
doesn't allow you to go there unless you have special clearance.
But did you meet him, Daniel? Have you ever talked to him?
When
I
was it?
didn't think so.
I read his book. I
Was
read
it-
Shackleton's book.
Did he
His
really go to
book.
Antarctica, or was it like the moon landing and it was just faked?
Ooh. Well, now you're bringing up the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
Should we dive down that conspiracy theory
I
as well?
think we've never been to the moon, to be honest.
I saw a comedian who brought up an amazing point. You know how when people say, as we were speaking of dad things to say, that I feel like this is a very dad thing to say.
Mhm.
We can put a man on the moon, but we can't make a such and such that does so and so.
Yeah.
The comedian was like, the people who were working on the moon landing are not working on paper towels that can be reusable. Those are different people.
Not only that, but we
But
can't
we-
put someone on the moon anymore. We were briefly able to do so, and we've been unable to do so ever since. And now we're just now starting to build the ability again.
Be unable to, or just haven't done it?
Unable.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, space guy, let me know why. Why have we been
Because
unable to do it?
After this,
Because
I have
they
another-
stopped
I have
building
ano-
the rockets, and then they lost the people that knew how to build the rockets.
Oh, really?
I have another
There-
NASA-related question.
It would have required redeveloping the Saturn launch system again to do the same things again.
Interesting. What's your NASA question?
My NASA this is a special edition of Stump Andrew brought to you by the law office of
Uh-oh.
Jeffrey A. Domashevitz.
I like it.
Andrew, why did NASA start investigating the depths of the ocean in the 50s, only to stop investigating the depths of the ocean around the 80s, and then immediately start trying to find a way that humans could survive in outer space? And then why was there a massive explosion? Why did they blow something up in the depths of the ocean in 2021? What are they so afraid of? That not only after they explored the depths of the ocean, what did they find that made them want to figure out how to get off this planet and then try to blow something up in the depths of the ocean 2 years ago?
Are you describing Pacific Rim?
I
Have
saw
you
it on,
seen that movie?
I saw it on TikTok.
Have you seen that movie?
No, this is real.
I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't
Pacific
either.
Rim is a great movie. It's like, don't take it seriously at all, but it's just pure awesome.
Robots fighting, right?
It's giant robots fighting monsters that came up from the depths of the ocean out of
I
the
think
Earth's
it's mostly
crust.
the giant squid civilization, Justin, that's causing all the concern.
Oh. That's not the answer I wanted. I wanted there to be like a civilization of people that live in the Earth's core
Like
that
the
would
giant
come
monsters
up through the ocean.
in Pacific Rim. If you haven't seen it,
I
watch
haven't.
it. It's
I
a
never
great
even
movie.
heard of it. Who's in it?
I can't remember.
When was it made? Was it before 1985?
It was not before 1985.
Because I wouldn't watch it if it was.
Let me figure out how to stall while I type Pacific Rim into.
My wife thinks there are deep sea aliens.
That's what it is. Pacific Rim, what came out in 2013.
Or a Nephilim.
Nephilim. That's great.
No, don't mean to get all biblical on you.
Charlie Day, who's in Always Sunny, was in it. Charlie Hunman, who I believe he's the guy he's in that motorcycle TV show. I can't remember that one. Idris Elba's in it. He's
I don't
good.
know who any of those people are.
Oh, you know Idris Elba. He's in The Office. He's did you watch all the way through The Office?
No.
Oh, never mind. You probably don't know him then.
Yeah, because
Stopped
he's one of the.
watching once it got terrible.
You know what's funny though? Idris
did
Elba
not
has
really get
done
terrible.
Idris Elba has done so much really famous stuff, and
Yeah.
I remember him from The Office.
Yes. Anyway, Pacific Rim is good. You should watch it, especially with like. I don't need this to be smart. I just need this to be giant robots kicking butt of giant aliens.
It actually kind of sounds like my jam. Is there any
It's pretty
comedy
sweet.
mixed into it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
I think I like this.
I'll watch it with you. I want to watch it again. Maybe I'll watch that when I get home if I can find it on a streaming service. Have you noticed that? Nobody watches DVDs anymore. Like, if you can't find something on your streaming service for free, you just don't watch it.
I don't have a way to play a DVD in my house.
It
right
would
now.
be so difficult for me to play a DVD.
I have a way, but it would require
You have a
me...
PlayStation.
I have a PS4 that I spent way too much money on, but I would have to go get it and hook it up and unplug other things and plug it in, and
The Xbox.
it
that's
just
in
feels like too much hassle.
The Xbox that's in my living room is one of the no disc ones where you have to download stuff straight to it.
I didn't know they made those.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know they still made them with discs.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 Xboxes in our home are that way.
interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I feel like we got off track.
Yeah, we did. What were we talking about? Kyrie Irving.
We were talking about basketball.
And then, okay.
I would have complained more, except that I wasn't interested in what you were talking about before
Yes.
either.
I believe it's time for Justin's favorite part of the show.
Mm-hmm. Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
So
My
just to
wife
track-
just texted me that Pacific Rim is on Hulu and she wants to watch it.
You know what?
So
Maybe we'll watch it tonight, too. Maybe we can sync our watching.
let's do it.
And we can say, all right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah,
And
you
we'll
have to let
watch
me
it.
know what all the times you get up to pee, though, so we can pause it at the same time.
I do have a
I'm
small
assuming it's
bladder.
going to be like 4 times.
You
or
can
so.
FaceTime at the same time.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Come on, guys. You learned nothing during
so
the pandemic.
We went from basketball to
There's a
Kyrie
Pacific
Irving.
Rim, too?
Wait, what? I haven't seen that.
I'm getting texts from Angel. She's excited now.
Sweet.
Oh, it's called Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh.
Ah.
Hey.
So, Daniel, this is Stump Daniel, which is brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, and this will kind of be the second edition of it, because I just did one with Andrew,
Yeah.
in which he couldn't answer any of my NASA conspiracy theory questions,
Yep.
which I
Which-
guess was only one.
He is fairly well versed on both NASA and conspiracy.
It
But
makes
he's
it
apparently-
harder to answer questions about made-up
I was
conspiracy
gonna say,
theories.
he may not be well versed in NASA-related nonsense.
Like TikTok.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
TikTok's
that is-
got
the
some good
National
ones, too.
Air and Space Administration. They don't study the ocean because there's NOAA and other people are studying the ocean.
The National
Mostly.
Oceanic and
Oh, I thought
Atmospheric
you meant-
Administration. Boom!
I thought you meant
Had
like
to say that a million times
literally.
on the radio.
I thought you meant like literally Noah from the Bible who built the ark.
Yeah, he started
No.
that organization.
Okay, so Noah founded Noah.
Spelled
Yes.
differently. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
But
Daniel,
the N stands for Noah, so.
we're gonna do the same thing we did last week,
Okay. Oh no.
but we're gonna, in the interest of inclusivity
Purdue.
and Title IX,
Yeah.
we're gonna do the women's college basketball top 10.
Oh, boy.
Daniel, how many teams in the women's college basketball top 10 can you name?
All right. I'm going to go with UConn.
UConn is number 5.
Wow, number 5.
Yeah.
What happened to UConn?
Well, they lost 2 games this year, so.
That's unacceptable.
For UConn, it is.
Louisville.
Louisville is not in the top 25.
Is Haley Van Lith even that good?
Serving questions up on a silver.
Can't even get her team into the top 10, and people are talking about tanking for
I
her?
don't even see Louisville and others receiving votes.
Oh, my gosh. And you think prime Daniel Hargrove couldn't shut down a girl who can't even get her team into the rankings?
I really don't. I don't.
Daniel got his team into the rankings.
Let me put it this way.
In NCAA 2K.
There we go. We were a game behind a team that took 3rd at state. Did they take 5th place in our league? Yes. It doesn't speak well for us. Baylor.
Baylor, I hardly know her. Baylor. Sorry, that's an office
Daniel
quote.
Daniel just heard himself.
That's an office quote. I apologize to those of you who don't. I don't see Baylor in the top 25 either.
Jeez.
There's a powerhouse of women's basketball that you're missing. It's almost like you don't follow women's
Tennessee.
college basketball at all.
Is it Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Isn't that where... Was that Summit?
Not in the top 25.
A powerhouse of...
Tennessee, however, and Baylor are both in others receiving votes.
Oh, Stanford.
Stanford is number 2.
There we go.
So you got number 5 and number 2.
Okay.
If you followed the last few years, number 1 would smack you in the face.
It would smack me in the face?
Yeah, it'd be like if you
What is
have
it, like
paid any
a-
attention to women's college basketball, when you find out what number 1 is, you're going to be like, "Oh, dang it."
Darn. I don't think Oregon State's good anymore, but they were really good for a bit.
Not in the rankings.
Okay. I didn't guess that.
Logging that as an official guess.
Oh.
Because I could tell you threw it out there hoping it would be true.
Yeah, they were good. You're right. There's a team that's just sitting there.
Yep.
Notre Dame?
Notre Dame is number 9. Very
not
good.
who you were talking
Not
about,
the one I
though.
was talking about, but no, but that's in the top 10.
Arkansas?
I do not see Arkansas in the top 25. Bad job by you.
Really bad job.
Obviously, if someone had asked me this, I would have been able to list off all 10 immediately.
Absolutely.
Even though my favorite team is not in it.
Gonzaga?
Gonzaga is 17, so not in the top 10. Not a bad guess, though. Not a bad guess. They are 21-2 on the season.
Can you give me the league of the team you're thinking of?
Yes, it is. Actually, number 1 and number 3 are both SEC schools.
Texas A&M?
Ooh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. Not a top 25 team.
Florida?
Ooh, I'm sorry, that's not correct. Not a top 25 team.
Alabama?
Ooh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. Not a top 25 team.
Vanderbilt?
Ooh, I'm sorry, that is not correct.
Georgia?
Ooh, I'm sorry, that is not correct. Not a top 25 team.
How many
Daniel
guesses
can't
do I
remember
get?
any more SEC teams.
I'm just going to give you the answer.
LSU?
LSU is number 3.
Hey! All right.
But you didn't get the 1, which is South Carolina.
Yeah, okay, I feel dumb. Yep.
So 1 through 10 is South Carolina, Stanford, LSU, Indiana, UConn, Iowa, Utah,
Iowa. Sorry.
Maryland, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. North Carolina, number 11, although they lost today, so they'll be
And
dropping.
Ohio
from
State University.
The Ohio State.
And Ohio State University.
Ohio State.
All right.
And this concludes Stump Daniel, which was brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz and Title IX. Super Bowl.
I have on our show sheet Superb Owl.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I think we're not supposed to say the actual trademark name, or
Yeah.
else the NFL will come after us.
No, that's just for like commercial
Copyright infringement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
But no, we
for
have
commercials.
sponsors, so that we can't.
no, that's not how it. Can ESPN say the word Super Bowl?
I don't believe so.
They do
They have
all
to
the
pay.
time.
They have to pay the NFL like hundreds of dollars.
Have you ever noticed that, like, a lot of... I actually don't know the rule, to be honest, but have you ever noticed that when you hear some people talk about it, they never say Super Bowl, they say, like, the big game?
The big game.
Yeah.
That's what we always say on the radio.
Yeah, 'cause
big
you don't wanna
game.
get sued
Hey,
by the
do you
NFL.
want to have a party for the big game? Get your nachos at 7-Eleven,
That is
where the
not...
chili looks like poop.
Ryan
Is
Watkins,
that a real commercial? Because...
Ryan Watkins says that Daniel needs to stop watching Pacific Rim and start watching some women's hoops.
That checks out. Yeah, that makes sense.
Francis just texted me, rubbing it in that Louisville's women beat North Carolina.
Oh, snap. You didn't mention that part
Well,
of it.
I was leaving it out intentionally.
Did
You
Haley
brought
Van
up Haley
Loef-
Van Lith. She scored 17 points in that game.
Only 17?
Well, she was 5 for 15 shooting, which is not great.
No. What do you guys
Good
think?
defense.
Do you guys think that I'm not actually a good defender in my prime?
Ooh, Daniel. She's averaging 19.3 points per game.
Do you know what I did to somebody who was averaging 23 points per game?
Daniel,
He scored 6. Do you know how he scored those 6 points? I just told you on the way up.
I'm going to let you say it.
He hit 2 threes while I wasn't in the game. Just throwing that out there.
Did he go on to play Division I college basketball at Louisville?
No, he went on to play at St. Martin's. So, not the same.
You know, Haley Van Lith, in her first year at Louisville, shot 38.3% on three-pointers.
That's pretty
Her
good.
second year, 36.3.
That's not as good.
No, but this year she's shooting 24.1.
Ugh.
That's real bad.
Is she getting worse?
Not volume scoring wise. She's still averaging a high. This is her best points per game average. She's good. Yeah. She's also averaging 1.4
You know, Justin, hot
steals.
take. Hot take.
Yeah.
Because I've seen most of the highlights I've seen from her, and the most impressive highlights I've seen from her have been in the 3-on-3 game.
Yeah.
She is on the national 3v3 team. I think she is a better 3-on-3 player than she is a 5-on-5 player.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
Like the parts of her watching her play that have impressed me the most are the shot creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has more space in 3v3,
Yeah.
and she
What
has to
about
play
1v1?
She has to play less defense.
What about 1v1 against Prime Daniel Hargrove?
I got it. I watched a little documentary on her, and she was playing against her brother in the documentary, and her brother was totally playing soft.
I thought you were going to say that her brother was shutting her down.
No, it was a documentary about her. He wasn't going to be mean.
Her brother was totally playing soft.
It was.
Not like when you played against your older brother and he used a broom to block your shots.
And then you broke his nose.
No, I used a broom to try and block his shots. But I did break his nose.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be talking about the Super Bowl. How did this happen?
Superb Owl.
Yes,
The
that-
Big game
The big game.
with 7-Eleven nachos.
Yep.
What are you guys doing for the Super Bowl this year? I guess for you that depends on whether or not you have a baby.
And if you allow me to come to your place,
You can come watch at my dad's house.
can I?
Yeah.
Sweet. Then I'm coming to your guys' place.
That.
Yeah, Andrew is too. You know my last vivid memory of your guys' place?
What's that?
When I was curled up in the fetal position after the Seahawks lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've gone to a Super Bowl since then at your dad's house.
Yeah.
But that's the one that sticks out into my memory.
It's a tough memory to shake.
Yeah.
Even more than when I watched the Seahawks win.
Yeah.
What's that say about your mental health?
It's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that concludes our Super Bowl talk.
Philly's gonna win.
KC's going to win.
Gardner Minshew's gonna come in for the last
Ooh.
2-minute drill drive and lead the touchdown to win.
I would
That
like.
would be so awesome.
I want him to play the whole game. No, see, that's not good enough for me. I want something. I'm not wishing an injury on
No.
anyone, but Jalen Hurts could
Jalen
become
Hurts
like.
is going to sleep through his alarm,
There you go.
miss the Super Bowl,
There it is.
and Gardner Minshew's gonna lead them to victory 45-7.
Actually,
If
feel
that
like
happened,
that.
do you think that there would be another backup quarterback statue in Philly?
I don't know, because that thing you just described might actually be more damaging to Jalen Hurts' career than getting seriously injured.
Yeah, seriously injured. You're right. How about Jalen just sprains an ankle in the first quarter?
And then we realize he's not that tough. Can't fight through it.
wait, see, you're making things more damaging.
Yeah,
for
you're
him
right.
again.
I don't know why I'm doing that.
Yeah, gosh, what a jerk.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's time we take a break. And after that break, we're going to talk about, apparently you're going to apologize about something.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about local sports. And don't get too excited, but I hear there might be a certain certification that's happening today.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
What?
We have to see.
Maybe.
Do you have a legal situation that needs someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. And welcome back to The Scrimmage, which is brought to you by Oly Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz. Thank you to our sponsors for helping make this show possible. We want to be able to bring you the best possible quality content, like talking about NASA discovering things in the deep seas that are mysterious. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll talk about Area 51 next. I don't know. But thank you to our sponsors for helping bring this show. We do have a lot of local sports to get to. I'm Justin Damashevitz. Daniel Hargrove will be returning shortly, and our producer, Andrew Gross, is here with us as well. So let's start things off with something that I feel I failed last week in a way. And Andrew, do you have the sound that I asked you to play?
Yeah. What do you want me to play? What's it called?
It's called some kind. It's
So
something.
we have
like-
to sound professional. Is it cut one?
No, it's called something like sad piano music or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah,
I-
I'm sorry. I forgot.
I gave
to queue it
Andrew
up,
a
so-
USB drive with like 1,000 files on it, and then I also don't remember the name of the file.
Okay, I
Well
got
done
you.
by
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I started to watch Pro Bowl antics, but I'll pay attention now that the music started.
This is an apology.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to wrestling. To wrestlers, yes. And wrestling coaches. And wrestling fans. However many of you actually exist. But mostly, I'd like to apologize to the sport of wrestling. Very few people really understand it. How it's scored. How it's seeded.
It's true.
What's the difference between a meet, a match, and a duel? How many points? How many points do you get for a takedown, a counter, or a pin? I only kind of know, but I should know better. Our high school wrestlers deserve better. While we on this podcast spend hours on end discussing the finer points of basketball, football, baseball, softball, volleyball, track and field, and even soccer. Wrestling seems to get lost in the shuffle.
Like a deck.
I'm sorry, wrestling. I tried to go out and get some information from local experts and coaches last week. They gave me all the info I would need so you guys could get the recognition you deserve.
It's true.
And I bungled it.
Bungalow.
I couldn't explain what the league dual meet was, and I created great confusion by saying sub-district instead of sub-regionals. People who know wrestling undoubtedly listened to last week's podcast and screamed into their speaker about how wrong I was.
Terribly.
About basically everything. Except that Montesano always has a very competitive wrestling team. That part was right. And you can only get that kind of hard-hitting analysis right here on The Scrimmage, which is brought to you by Oly Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. Wrestling, you deserve better.
It's true.
Wrestlers, you deserve better. Wrestling coaches, you deserve a podcast host who knows the difference between districts and regionals, which is a distinction used across all sports in high school. Wrestling fans, who am I kidding? You're just a bunch of parents of kids who wrestle. But you deserve better too. So I formally, publicly apologize. And I commit to being better. With that said, I also apologize for not having any wrestling in today's local sports roundup. So now let's get it going with this week's local sports roundup. Montesano's girls basketball team completed an undefeated regular season on Friday with a 65-31 victory at Hoquiam. Maya Young led the Bulldogs with 14 points. McKinley Dalid added 12 points and 6 steals, while her younger sister Jilly Dalen scored 10 and pulled down 11 rebounds. The Grizzlies were led by Chloe Kennedy's 10 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 blocks. Both teams will host a district tournament opener on Thursday. Monty, as the Evergreens top seed, will face La Center. Hoquiam, the 2 seed, will take on Columbia White Salmon.
You're a piece of work. On Wednesday, Hoquiam's girls essentially took second place in the league by beating Eatonville. Take that, Eatonville, 53-40. Gracie Bonnie Spradlin led the Grizzlies with 17 points, 7 assists, and 7 steals. That's a heck of a game.
Yeah, it is.
That's AOW consideration
For
worthy.
sure.
Double machine. Chloe Kennedy added 11 points and 13 rebounds.
Aberdeen's girls basketball team improved to 8-3 in league play, 14-4 overall, with a 41-29 win over Shelton on Wednesday. Junior guard Zoe Tro scored 11 of her game-high 16 points in the third frame to help the Bobcats extend their lead. Maddie Gore had a solid all-around performance on the stat sheet with 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 7 assists, and 2 blocks.
Raymond's girls basketball team started off their district tournament with a 60-41 win over Morton White Pass in Montesano. Carson Freeman led the Seagulls with 31 points.
Hey,
Raymond will travel to Rochester on Tuesday to face Adna, the Pirates. Adna. Their male counterparts did not fare as well in the opening round, falling to Adna 66-47. I just spit all over the place.
Yeah, that's fine.
Skylar Hudson led the Seagulls with 13 points. They will be back in action on Friday earlier in the week. Raymond's girls raced to a 77-20 win over South Bend. Unsurprisingly, Freeman led the charge with 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 steals.
Athlete of the week. Hoquiam boys basketball moved into second place in the Evergreen 1A League standings with 2 impressive wins this week. Michael Lorton Watkins led the Grizzlies to a 65-52 win over previously league unbeaten Eatonville on Tuesday with 34 points and 12 rebounds. Lorton Watkins was limited due to illness during Thursday's 54-28 victory over Montesano, but still managed to lead the team with 10 points and also grabbed 7 boards. Justice Stankovic, Xander Jump, and Aiden Butcher each added 9 points in a well-rounded performance by Hoquiam. Montesano was led on senior night by senior guard Christian Olsen with 10 points. The Grizzlies will enter next week's district tourney as the Evergreen League's 2 seed, which means they will get to host an opener on Thursday. And last I checked, the team was still to be determined. I don't know whether it ended up being Seton Catholic or La Center.
I think it's Friday.
Friday.
I think the girls are playing Thursday.
Okay.
Also, Christian Olsen's last 3 to give him 10 points
Logo shot?
was from way deep. Way deep.
Yeah.
Montesano Boys Hoops picked up its 4th win of the season on Tuesday in Rochester, 49-45. Tice Peterson led the Bulldogs with 18 points. Camden Taylor was close behind with 14. junior post Soren Cobb may have had the most impressive all-around performance with 12 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 denials. That's a block.
Elma Boys Hoops notched a key league victory on Tuesday against Tenino. The Eagles got 18 points and 7 rebounds from A.J. Holmes, 14 points from Traden Carter, and 12 points from Kaysen Seberg in the 62-39 victory. Elma then lost to Eatonville 88-67 on Thursday. Carter had 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in that game, while Holmes recorded 12 points and pulled down 13 rebounds. The Eagles will start the district tourney on the road at Seton Catholic.
Willapa Valley's boys locked up the 1B Columbia Valley League title with a 51-49 win over Mossy Rock on Friday. Riley Pearson led the Vikings with 15 points and Derek Fluke added 13. Senior forward Garrett Keaton left the game in the first quarter after having a molar knocked out. What? A molar? That's ouch. But returned later in the game. What? And contributed 7 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Holy cow.
So much good stuff happened this week. Reread that sentence.
Garrett Keaton left the game in the first quarter after having a molar knocked out, but returned later and contributed 7 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals.
That's nutso. Montesano High School junior Michaela Stanfield has verbally committed to play soccer at Gonzaga University. Stanfield is a standout multi-sport athlete and is the 1A Evergreen League's 2-time reigning MVP in soccer.
In club soccer, Elma Eagle Emmy Spencer, earned a clean sheet on Saturday for the Grace Harbor Gulls FC Academy's U19 team. Spencer recorded 8 saves and broke up multiple other plays en route to a 2-0 Gulls win. See that? I've been watching Ted Lasso.
Very nice.
Use the word nil.
Very nice.
This impressive performance
on the pitch.
Yeah. Don't get me started about the boots. This impressive performance by Spencer builds upon her 10-plus save performance, which included a PK save in the Gulls' 2-1 win last week. Jemima Perez scored 3 goals over the 2 matches, and Bethany Henderson scored one just under the crossbar from 35 yards out.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Bethany Henderson, Montesano Bulldog.
Yeah, Emmy Spencer,
Elma
not
Eagle.
only an Eagle, but she's kind of a boss.
She totally is.
I've known who Emmy is for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I played football with her older brother,
Mm-hmm.
and Emmy was like the little kid on the sideline, making like one-handed catches with full-size footballs, and we were like,
She played tackle football with the boys when she was a kid, too.
Yeah, they had to separate her so they wouldn't get hurt.
yeah, seriously. she's a
Emmy
boss.
also is a
Ryan-
former Athlete of the Week, and she was nominated for Athlete of the Week again this week.
Understandable.
Brian Watkins is letting you guys know that La Center is the opponent Friday at 6 at the Garden.
Very nice.
I
that
like
was a
beating
huge
Lysander.
deal for Hoquiam because Hoquiam was like on track to be in 4th
Yeah.
at a point, like especially after they had lost their first 3 league games. They are on such a tear right now and playing so well.
Yep.
That Eatonville win was massive because it meant that they didn't have to worry about tiebreakers with Elma and Tenino. They're just second place all on their own, and second place is a big deal because you get to host an opener.
Absolutely. Coach Nemi has them playing excellent basketball. I think the most impressive thing is how the kids have bought into each of their roles.
Yeah.
And are playing them to the best of their abilities.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you know you have a good coach and kids who are buying in, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you build the team around the players that you have. Because in high school, you don't get to recruit, in a public high school, you don't get to recruit the players that you want to fit the type of program that you have.
Well,
You don't?
in public high school, you shouldn't recruit to get players to fit the type of
There you
program
go.
you have.
Yeah. Also, good distinction there. So you have to build the team or build the game plan around the players you have. And I feel like Nemi's doing a great job doing that. And the kids are also buying into it, which I think is, I mean, how often do you see a team, lose their first was it 3?
3 league games.
And then just go on a tear after that.
Not often. And actually, they were really good through their non-league schedule. I think they only lost 1 game to Willapa Valley.
Yeah.
So, and Willapa Valley's really good. They're undefeated in their, and they're only 1B, but they're undefeated in their 1B league.
And they have 3 flukes.
Yeah, at that point, that's no fluke.
Exactly.
But actually, this conversation...
And a kid who plays without a molar, for Pete's sake.
Right. This conversation actually leads perfectly into my next apology. So, Andrew, can I have the music?
Uh-oh. We're playing it again?
I would like to formally apologize to Hoquiam's boys basketball team. Last week, I verbally pooped on their high ranking in the RPI.
Whoa!
I called their non-league schedule quote-unquote cupcake, without noting the high margin of victory against several of the B schools they played. I also failed to give them credit for the 2A teams they defeated.
Oh.
Aberdeen twice and Rochester. Powerhouses. I will strive to be less salty, even though I did.
This is a sarcastic apology.
I will strive to be less...
Not like the other one.
I just watched Hoquiam beat my team on Thursday.
Beat is an understatement.
I will strive to be less salty, but sometimes my Hoquiam sports fan friends rub off on me over time and I don't realize it. I will choose my friends better, and hopefully that will help adjust my attitude. Formal apology to Hoquiam boys basketball for my comments last week. I'm very sorry.
I'm touched. I'm deeply touched.
I don't believe you.
There is a fair point in all of that, which is that last week I said something like their schedule was cupcake. They just played a bunch of B schools. But if you actually go back and look at the results from those games, aside from Willapa Valley, which I already mentioned they lost that game, they were winning those games by 20, 30, 40, 50 points. So it's not like they scheduled a bunch of B teams and then had played close games. They really did. They were really good in their non-league schedule.
That's true. You also made an excellent graphic for maybe our number 1 fan of the show and his son, Tiggy.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would have requested for that thing was that you had like a Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid. Oh, wait. That movie was made before 1985.
You want Templar involved?
I was thinking Templar should probably be involved in that because they're kind of the dynamic duo of thievery.
If I had created that as a graphic for the show, I probably would have done that.
Yeah.
But that was just something I took 45 seconds and threw together just to send to Francis.
It was so awesome. You don't know how jealous I was of Tiggy that he had something like that and I never did.
In case anyone's wondering, I created a wanted poster. Actually, I think that my buddy Francis did post it to his Facebook page.
He did.
But it just said that Tiggy is wanted. There's a reward, and he is a known menace and a ball thief.
Yes.
And it's true. But I would agree that Templar needs to be... And, I mean, if I'm being honest, Hoquiam's team defense is just really good.
It is.
Watkins, he wasn't well on Thursday. He typically gets his hand on a lot of balls. So
he plays excellent defense, which you don't always see from high-volume scorers, right?
And how often he also leads the team in rebounds, too.
Exactly. So we got districts coming up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if we want to do another commercial break first. No, let's talk about districts for a little bit.
Okay.
So we got Hoquiam's boys taking on La Center. So they would be the 3 seed. They are playing excellent basketball right now. Sorry, that's probably me.
No, I bumped the microphone and it went nuts. I'm sorry. I think that was my fault.
All right. I got to think that they're peaking at the right time. It seems like they've got their rotation figured out. This is a Hoquiam team that I think can actually do some damage, especially if ML Dub gets healthy and is not sick for their playoff run, right? With that, I think I want to make an apology. I think I've been too focused on just his personal performance this year instead of the team performance. But I've been
do you want some music?
No. I think I've been tracking his personal points a little too much instead of looking at the team. And I think this is a team that now that they all are understanding their roles and playing those roles extremely well, because this is a team that isn't just, you see a lot of high school basketball teams that they have a good 5, and then once they have to go to their bench, then it becomes a problem. But their rotation is really good as well, and I think that lends well to playoff basketball.
I think so, especially just all of the like their defensive intensity creates a lot of issues. The ball pressure, the way that they run their 1-3-1 zone, where the guy at the top of it, his job, whether it was Tiggy or whoever else at any given time during the game, was to just scramble back and forth around both wings and put pressure on whoever has the ball, try to trap, try to force turnovers, which is when I first started thinking Tiggy's a menace, is just watching him do that and slap people without getting fouls called when they played against Montesano. But no, I'm kidding. But
You're not.
No, I think I am mostly kidding, because I do like a lot of the stuff that happened in that game is kind of the way playoff basketball is called anyway.
It's true.
They're going to allow a lot more of the little stuff typically. And if you can get into that kind of mindset to where you can play through those kind of things, it doesn't play to the strength of Montesano to allow the game to be played that way when they're facing a team that, I mean, offensively.
Okay, there you go.
Because
I was like, defensively, it kind of does.
No, it's just when you have so many players, Hoquiam has so many players defensively that are capable of creating issues for you with ball pressure and with cutting off passing lanes and with just poking the ball every time you go into traffic.
Yeah.
They had, I think when we were on the halftime show, I just said something like Hoquiam just has quick, active hands. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was the key to the game in a lot of ways, was even for portions of the game when Hoquiam wasn't hitting a lot of shots or really getting much going offensively, which is kind of what the first half was, because they only had 24 points in the first half.
Yeah.
They were still creating so many issues for Montesano with the way they pressured the ball and making it hard just to get clean shots off.
Yep.
And that's the kind of ball you need to be playing going into the playoffs. And I know I said this last week as well, I think it's even more true now. The type of ball that Hoquiam is playing now is the type of ball that we thought at the beginning of the season that they would be capable of doing, which is you have a guy who's the guy.
Yep.
You know, Michael Lorton Watkins is a star player, and he plays in all aspects of the game. And you have a whole bunch of guys. We already mentioned Tiggy and Jake Templer playing there, primarily as a defensive role, but neither of them are guys that you'll panic if they have the ball in their hands on offense.
Right.
You got Aiden Butcher and Justice Stankovic doing a lot of work down low. They're big, strong kids who are really aggressive towards the ball. I feel like you were saying,
Owen McNeil now coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And he's playing well.
Exactly. And he was good when he was a starter.
Exactly.
The kid can score. The kid can shoot. So I think like you said, this is a Hoquiam team that's playing to their capability, and they're playing the best kind of ball that you want to be going into the postseason, which is why when I listened back to the show from last week, you said something along the lines of, like, if they can make a Miracle State run, which at this point, like, if we looked at it going, well, this is a team that lost their first 3 league games, it would seem like it's a miracle run.
Right.
But if you look at the way they're playing right now, I don't think it would be a miracle run if they get into the state tournament.
And the interesting thing is, looking at some of the different rankings, like the Trico is kind of down this year. I'm just looking at their schedule right now and their standings, and Kingsway is their league champ, and they've lost 2 league games. And Seton Catholic lost 3, and La Center lost 3. Mm-hmm. So does that mean they're all really good? Or are they a little bit down? And the reason why I say they look a little bit down is because then you look at some of the different rankings, and you don't find Seton Catholic, Kingsway, or La Center anywhere in them.
Yeah.
So that makes me think that the league is a little bit down, and we've seen the Trico League be really good before in basketball. So it's a little surprising to me that, like, when I'm looking at the different rankings, I don't see any of their top 3 teams.
Well, and to be honest, I don't think either of these leagues is particularly good.
They're not too strong, because Hoquiam's the only team you see in the rankings.
Yeah, Eatonville.
Even Eatonville.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you see Eatonville even behind Hoquiam in some of these. Yeah.
Well, then that's because Eatonville lost a lot of games in their non-league. I was told that also Eatonville, they started the season very poorly, and then they sort of, like, they were kind of coming into the best of their game entering the league season, which makes sense why they finished 7-1 in league, because that's when they started playing their best ball.
Right.
I think Eatonville's pretty good. I guess they've been a little up and down. They have one player who's a 6'5" wing. His name's Shea Brannon, and he's really good. But some teams have been able. I think Hoquiam held him to 9, or 12, or something in
like
that range.
Yeah.
So I think that with a certain amount of planning and hoping that certain things don't go your way. Because the hard part about Eatonville is they have a couple other kids who can shoot. So if you focus too much on Brannon, they've got a 6'6" post who's big and not an oaf, and they've got a couple of kids who can shoot from the outside. So if you focus too much on Brannon, then they'll give you problems in other areas. But Hoquiam found the formula in that game on Tuesday and ended up beating them. It was a close game throughout most of it, but ended up being a 13-point win.
Yeah. I'm going to dive much more deeply into this, hopefully throughout the next week, as I'm preparing to broadcast the game on Friday night between La Center and Hoquiam. But we love to do the transitive properties and all of that, right? So Montesano played Castle Rock earlier in the season. Where did that game go? And they lost by 10.
That was a really close game at Castle Rock.
And Castle Rock went 4-6 in that league.
Yeah.
So
that also, I believe that was Castle Rock's first game, because Monty had a couple games before that, but Castle Rock had illness, so their first couple got canceled.
Yeah. Remember how last week I was talking about the B schools?
Yeah.
Napavine beat both. Well, Napavine beat Castle Rock 92-46.
Oh my.
Napavine also, Adna also beat La Center 60-57. And where did I see? I saw another one where one of those teams in that league beat La Center. So that's all. I was just,
yeah.
And
the hard part is too, transitive property takes us as far as it can.
Exactly.
I mean, La Center beat Montesano worse than anybody else beat Montesano this year. It was 72-27 or something. It was crazy. But
you also take into effect, it's hard with transitive properties. Monty's got a new coach.
And that was...
Hoquiam's got a new coach.
That might have been the first game of the year.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I think it was.
La Center... Well, it wasn't their first game of the year. It might have been your first game of the year.
Yeah.
They beat them 72-27. La Center lost their first game of the year to Morton White Pass 86-65. Again, another one of those B schools.
Yep.
That I was
one
saying
of the
was
really
good
B schools.
Morton White Pass and Napavine are both really good. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Rabbit trail again. What are we talking about?
We were talking about Hoquiam.
I'll go back to the show sheet.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs this year, I think the teams with the highest prospects, Monty girls, they've been in the state the last few years. I think they have another good shot of getting back there again. Mm-hmm. After that, Hoquiam boys are really on a tear right now. I think they have a shot. The wild cards are Aberdeen girls and Hoquiam girls.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be really hard for Aberdeen's girls to get there. Not necessarily because they aren't a fun team to watch and a good team, but that district's really tough. That 2A district is really, really hard. You got Tumwater and Chehalis in your own league. And then you also have Mark Morris. You've got R.A. Long and some of those powerhouses down south in that 2A league. Woodland. Is it Woodland or Woodinville? I always get those mixed up.
I think it's Woodland.
Woodland.
Yeah.
Usually really good, too. So that's just a really, really tough district. Hoquiam girls, they're the 2 seed.
And playing their best ball right now.
And playing some pretty good ball. I mean, I would say they have a shot at getting to regionals, and then it depends on the matchup they get, right? So there's some interesting teams right now coming into this. Elma's boys, we've seen them catch fire before. So it's going to be an interesting tournament for this district. I love the district tournament week. It's going to be really hard with having a new job and then also, or a different job than I usually have, I should say. And then also with, at any point I could be called and said, being told that my wife's going into labor.
Yeah.
So covering it's going to be different this year than it ever has been for me, but district week is some of the most fun I have, for sure.
Always. District tournaments are always really fun. Yep. And then also from the B schools in our area as well. Raymond's girls are they're kind of a borderline in and out of the top 10 team this year. And then on the boys and girls side, Willapa Valley's really good. Their boys are better.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, undefeated in league. So you'll.
We just saw Acosta lose on like borderline. No, they lost on a last 10-second shot, and then their buzzer beater went in and out. Did you see that highlight?
I did see that. Yeah, I think Ian posted that.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff, I think, which will make next week's show really fun, talking about what the district results are.
Yeah.
And we have to name an athlete of the week still, and we're going to have a discussion and certify something.
Yes.
But first, let's take our last commercial break.
Yep.
At Oly Pen Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Oly Pen, it's personal.
Thank you again to our sponsors, Oly Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz.
I'm Justin Domashevitz. No relation.
What's the A stand for? There we go. We really appreciate. If you want to sponsor us, let us know.
Yeah.
I could probably ask people, but I'm bad at it. But
I would think of
He'll
the three
just
of us.
passive aggressively talk about how you'd like sponsors
Yeah.
on the show.
I don't know. Like, technically, of the three of us, I think you would be the best at it.
That's sad.
Like when we just for instance, if there was a scenario in which one of us needed to just walk up and talk to somebody,
Yeah.
it would be you.
I do that when I talk to coaches.
But also, like when we did the live show from the wiffle ball
And I
tournament.
couldn't. Why wasn't I there? But I couldn't be there for some reason.
It was a work thing, I think. You had to go like help with a fair or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
So you couldn't be there, and it was like, okay, well, we got these promotional materials. So then
I'm good at peddling promotional
and
materials.
I did a little bit.
We gave away like 2.
No, it was more than that.
That's what I was doing at the fair. I was just
was-
peddling promotional materials.
It was in the ballpark of like 10 that I gave away. But we had
okay.
a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I don't remember the number. And we still have them.
Yeah.
So we can do it at another time, but I was like, every one I was giving out was really hard for me. And I was like, man, Dan, this would be so easy for Daniel.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at giving away free stuff.
Yeah.
You know why? Because people like free stuff.
Yeah.
Just throw it at them. Say, hey, this is free.
I think the other thing was I also kind of caused some trouble there.
Again?
I mean, not really.
Shocking.
Just advocating for my team.
Why does this always happen with our team?
I don't know. Because we're better than everyone?
I mean, the previous year, I almost got in a fight with my own teammate. Almost punched my brother in the face.
Well, that doesn't count.
Does it?
Brother, teammate. Those are very different.
Okay. All right. All right. It is time to announce our Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week. And Justin, to me, we've got 3 really good contenders here. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
I know where I'm leaning. Well, I know my top 2, but then it's tough. I know where I want to go, but that shows my bias. So
I have 3 that I feel like should be strongly considered, and I'll run through them real quick.
yeah,
The first one is Michael Lorton Watkins.
ML
and
Dub.
As we mentioned, he did lead, even though he was sick. And
Which
didn't-
I got to
didn't-
mention, I interviewed him after one of the games, and
Yeah.
I was like, or ML Dub, like to his face, and he was like, yeah, if you want to shorten it. And I was like, yes, Michael, I do sometimes. Like when I'm doing play-by-play, it helps me out.
Okay. Okay, good. So ML Dub,
Yeah.
as we mentioned, even though he was sick and didn't play a ton, like he might have played a half in total
Maybe, yeah.
in that Montesano game, and
About a half.
still led the team with 10 points and then also grabbed 7 rebounds. But it really was on the strength of what happened on Tuesday, with
Yeah.
him scoring 34 points and having 12 rebounds against Eatonville, which I know I mentioned it, but I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle here. Eatonville was undefeated in league.
Yeah.
And they just needed to close it out with wins over Hoquiam and Elma, and they could have had a perfect league season. Eatonville already had clinched the league title because Hoquiam lost 3 league games.
Yep.
Hoquiam hosted Eatonville and took them out 65-52.
Yep.
That victory was very significant because it avoided tiebreaker scenarios for the 2 seed for Hoquiam. So for Michael to go into that game knowing how important it was against the first place team in the league, seemingly fully constructed because I don't think they had anybody sitting out that game, and have the performance that he did in a win for his team. On Tuesday, if you had asked me, I would have been like, he's going to be athlete of the week. I don't know what can happen between now and then to change that. Again, I spoke too soon because Carson Freeman, who has been the athlete of the week multiple times for us, performed not only exceptionally well in a regular season win with 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 steals against South Bend, but then also
rivalry component there.
That's true. Also then led her team to a district playoff opening win with 31 points.
That's a lot.
Over Morton White Pass. So,
all right.
I also that was the only stat that was available from that game because I just got it from Raymond Athletics' Facebook page. There was nothing in the Daily World when I checked. So there's probably more stats for Carson. She's good for at least 4 steals and 6 rebounds.
Yeah, because in the South Bend game, she had 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 steals.
Yeah, so I expect more stats, but 31 points is the one I know, and that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And that's a playoff game.
So, and then we have Emmy Spencer, also a baller.
Yeah.
Playing in some select soccer.
Right. And in this one, she had 8 saves and multiple other breakups in a clean sheet win, which built upon last week in which she had 10-plus saves, including a PK save, which is extremely impressive, in another win.
Yep.
And only allowed 1 goal.
Yep.
So Emmy Spencer, I mean, she also is a previous athlete of the week. An incredibly impressive 2-week span for Emmy as well.
And somebody else I just remembered.
The kid who got his tooth knocked out?
No, well, that was awesome, too. Michaela just committed to play soccer at Gonzaga.
Which, in a normal time of season and in many weeks, would be like automatic athlete of the week. You just committed to go play Division I college sports.
Exactly.
So that's
tough.
Yeah.
I think
And the kid who got his tooth knocked out. Garrett Keaton.
I know where I'm leaning. My mind has changed a little bit.
Okay.
My vote's for Carson. She's got the rivalry and the playoff upgrades. What do we usually call them?
Escalators.
Escalators. There we go.
Yeah.
She had massive games in both games.
Yeah.
And I think something later might also be helping that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm leaning.
Andrew, do you have an opinion on this?
No. Oh, was that the wrong answer?
Where are you leaning? I know the Eatonville game was massive.
It's all I can think about.
I know.
It dominated my life that night.
It was huge.
Watching the end of that game and then talking with other people about the way that game ended, the way even the very end of the game where he heaves up that last shot because it's going to be a shot clock violation. So just try to hit the rim, and he didn't try to make the shot. He shot it sideways and almost over his shoulder, and it went in.
It went in.
Everything about that game was so interesting.
Yep.
So it's difficult for me in my head to feel like anyone else should be athlete of the week. But I also think you're right because we have multiple factors here.
Yes.
And Carson Freeman has the escalators as well.
Yep.
I vote for Emmy Spencer.
And Emmy Spencer.
Right.
just to be annoying. And also because Elma's better.
Than Raymond?
Anywhere.
Oh.
Whoa.
I disagree, sir.
Dang, your opinion has changed. It's almost like you know more Elma people now.
Some people might say that Elma is worse than anywhere. But that's just...
I think that's just you.
I didn't say it. I said some people.
That sounds like
Besides, nothing could be worse than Tenino. I was actually had a conversation with...
Lyndon?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've got some other places, but I'm not allowed to say them.
I was having a conversation with my older son about this the other day because
I'm so sad, by the way. There's some things I want to say on today's show that I can't because I can't.
Okay.
But maybe in a year's time I'll be able to say them.
I was having a conversation with my son because he stumbled upon something, I think I was on Instagram, that was like top 5 worst cities in the United States.
Ooh.
And I was like,
Tenino was in there?
that list has no legitimacy unless Tenino's number 1. Like LA, Chicago. I hate Seattle too, to be honest. But like if Tenino's not number 1, then I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah, what are we doing?
So Carson Freeman
Yeah.
is our Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week
There it is.
after much difficult deliberation. And
Yep.
I think we might have changed our minds while that discussion was happening.
Yes.
And
I
Emmy
think so.
Spencer got a vote from Andrew as well.
I think she should be recognized as Michael Orton Watkins should be recognized as Michaela Stanfield should be recognized. But I think Carson Freeman, who's on the watch list for future bucket getter status, she has 31 points.
She's a PFBG, potential future bucket getter.
There we go. And 28.7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 steals. She is your Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week. Now, Justin.
We have to close our show with something
Yes.
that we've been teasing for several weeks
A
now.
long time, yeah.
In the history of our show, the highest honor we have ever bestowed upon any athlete,
Yep.
more than Athlete of the Week, more than Grace Harbor Football Player of the Year, which was Isaiah Pierce.
Did we only do that once?
We did it once, and it was only because he was
Man.
amazing and he didn't get any league MVPs.
And we love to snub Trace Ridgeway.
Yeah, that's true.
He's our favorite snub.
The highest honor
Sorry,
we can
Trace.
bestow upon someone is a bucket getter certification.
This is true.
You can be a certified bucket getter from the Scrimmage, and it's the highest honor you'll get in your life. Whether you go on to play college basketball, whether you're elected president of the United States,
Yep.
it will be the highest honor you will ever have.
You'll look back and say,
overreaction.
And we have
look
only
back
ever
and
given
say,
it out to two people.
I peaked there.
Yeah.
That was the peak.
It was all downhill.
Yep.
We've only ever given it out to two people.
Yep.
Both are Raymond Seagulls.
Which is weird.
Both are playing basketball at the next level.
Which is not weird.
Kira Gardner, Trey Seidel.
Yep.
There's another Raymond Seagull on the watch list, which is
Jeez.
Carson Freeman, but she's only a sophomore. We're going to give that some time.
Yep. You're going to let it marinate.
It would be terrible to have someone peak their
As-
entire life as a sophomore.
Yeah.
Like, that's just unacceptable.
Exactly.
We have, that's true. We have unanimously decided to certify one bucket getter today.
Yes.
Daniel, would you like to do the honors?
I would like to do the honors.
Do you want a drum roll?
Yes. Michael Lorton Watkins, a.k.a. ML Dub, a.k.a. Certified Bucket Getter. You score from all three levels. Inside, mid-range, outside. You create your own shot. You play above the rim. That's not a requirement. It's just an added bonus. You also score when you're not trying to. Not a requirement, but also an added bonus.
Yeah.
That does seem like that is an attribute of a bucket getter,
Yes.
though. Is that
Good.
they
That's
can't-
a-
they-
that's a really
They have
good
trouble
point.
not getting buckets.
Exactly. You are our third certified bucket getter. Congratulations, Michael Lorton Watkins. ML Dub. I am glad that we now have more than Raymond Seagulls represented. And I am also extremely, extremely proud that our first non-Raymond Seagull is a Hookweem Grizzly.
All right.
There it
Go
is.
Grizz.
Yeah. Michael Lorton Watkins.
And we'll
ML
be
Dub.
rooting for you hard in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Also, he's getting close. He's getting close.
Don't jinx it.
If they have a strong run, do I not say it now that
I
you
don't
said
know.
don't jinx it? I was gonna say it, but now I don't want to say it. I
think
You're
won't
an
say it.
announcer.
I think you can say it.
He's getting. If they have a strong playoff run, he could get to 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Which, as we mentioned for McKinley Dalen, is insanely impressive for any senior in like the next 2 to 3 years because they had weird COVID seasons that kind of shut things down. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel good.
Well, I think that's going to do it.
Is that? Oh, well, we also have we have a decision we're looking at making
Okay,
either next
yeah.
week or the week after. We'll see. I'm just going to say, as a further tease, that's not going to be the only certified bucket getter that we announced this season.
This is a multi-bucket getter year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Justin, do you want to mention anything? I know I pontificated for a little bit about his scoring
I'm
aptitude.
still kind of mad at Michael for beating Montesano on Thursday, so I'm gonna.
But he didn't even do much. Just remember what he did on Thursday or on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. No, I think if I'm being completely honest about it, like we could have done this very early in the year.
Yeah.
When I think of the criteria that we laid out, like he is all of those.
Yes.
He scores at all levels. He creates his own shot. He scores consistently. He scores with volume. He also has faced all kinds of weird defensive schemes this year to try to stop him.
Yep.
He's been able to go get the ball, go find his shot, find his teammates when there's nothing for him. I'm very impressed with what he's accomplished this year. I'm very impressed with what the Grizzlies are doing as a team right now and the run that they're on. I think it's worth noting, as we talked about earlier, that they are playing their best ball since Aiden Butcher's been in the starting lineup and since Timmy Higgins has come back from his injury, which I think has helped up the defensive intensity. And I think that probably frees things up for Michael a little bit as well, creates more opportunities for him. But the type of ball that ML Dub plays is certified bucket getter.
Absolutely. And don't let your dad tell you otherwise. Those were dunks. Those were dunks.
Like rim grazers, I guess.
They were dunks. What do you want from them?
I want to jump higher.
The dude already levitates, but apparently, okay, next time throw down a tomahawk, then we'll believe. Then
Justin needs the cylinder to be very violated.
I need two hands and a little bit of a hang.
Okay, the hang would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he might get a tech.
Not just enough of a hang where you like, this is how you do it, because this is the hard
Is
part.
it really?
If you're hanging to show up your opponent, automatic tech. But when you hang, if you look down, like I just want to make sure nobody's below me.
Am I okay to drop down?
Half a second. Hang
Okay.
for half a second, look down, boom, you're on the ground.
Okay.
Extra points if you break the glass.
I don't think ML Dub quite has Shaq size.
Yeah.
There would have to be a flaw.
He could just, like-
that would be a problem.
What if when he
Yes.
goes up to dunk, he just takes a hammer with him? Dunk the ball with one hand, smash the glass with a hammer with your other.
Oh, I think that's going to do it for our show today. So,
For my trusty co-host, Daniel, I didn't think up a nickname, but I want to do something Grizzly related. So I'll just say Daniel the Salty Grizzly Hargrove.
and he didn't read the show sheet because Andrew wrote one in.
Oh, wait. Let me do it over. Hold on. Hold on.
It's
Give
only
me-
ever just a suggestion.
Oh, hold on. Hey, hold
You
on.
read the
Give me a second.
show sheet for once in your life.
Right? Because
don't
I was
see
hoping
it.
you wrote something for
I don't
Justin.
have
Sorry.
anything. Hold on. The show sheet doesn't show any. I'm getting to the bottom of it right now.
Riveting radio.
So,
Yeah, so
for my co-host, Daniel Pontificating Hargrove,
And my co-host, Justin, the apologist, Damashevitz.
and our producer / co-host / trusty producer, Andrew, typed a nickname in the show sheet. Gross.
Or the NASA expert who didn't actually answer our questions. Gross.
Dude, the closing of this show has been like me trying to cover wrestling.
Yeah, it's
Like,
really
this was
bad.
bad.
And
This
not
was
good.
really bad.
Not great.
Do you think the wrestlers believed my apology?
Not a chance.
No, you might get jumped.
I was trying to be sincere.
Yeah. Cole Eckerson's going to get you.
If anybody needs his home address, just
Isn't
hit
there
me
another
up.
Eckerson?
Yeah.
Was that his older brother?
He has an older and a younger brother.
You know, the craziest record, I'm 90% sure on this. You remember Eric Schmidtke?
Yeah.
I think he only lost one match in his entire wrestling
That
career.
sounds right. Was
And
it was like a state
I
championship when he was a
think
freshman or
I think
something?
it was the freshman year state championship.
I think you're right.
Anyway.
And
with
he was
that-
a field goal kicker in football.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He was
And a
all-
fullback.
I was going to say field goal kicker wasn't his main duty there. Anyway, that's
said
going to do
duty.
it for our show. Duty. I'm going to go do some duty.
Okay, bye. Bye, everyone.